So why are we taking a look at the TFX3 today? Well, probably just curiosity. These are newer to the market, not new at this point, late 2021, but I don't see as many people using them as some of the other choices like the Spires or the LTRs or control loaders. So I'm fairly curious to see what makes them tick and what's going on underneath the hood, and maybe it'll open up our eyes to whether it's a great product that's just waiting to be discovered by the masses, or maybe it's just an okay product. Let's go see. So what do you get for your money when you buy one of these TFX3s? Well, first of all, obviously you get the loader with the built-in speed feed. Inside the box, you're going to find a rain lid, which is nice. You're going to find a USB Type-C recharging cable. I'm going to show you how you use this in a few minutes. You also get the extender that brings the capacity, in theory, up to 230 rounds. Although as our testing will show, it's not quite 230 rounds, but we'll get back to that in a minute. So the first feature of almost all modern force feed hoppers is toolless disassembly, meaning that you don't need any tools. You should be able to take it apart in the staging area fairly quickly. I mean, heck, you can even take it apart in the game, under fire, behind your bunker, if you need to clean out a really nasty jam or breakage. I've done that before with many of the hoppers I own. So that's becoming kind of a standard feature. So how do we take it apart? First of all, open the lid. Next, you're going to raise this small tab right there. And once you get that up, you can lift on this other tab and pull the top half of the hopper off. This is probably where you're going to stop to do most of your basic cleaning. To charge the battery, we're going to need to go a little bit deeper inside of it. So to get underneath the feed assembly, you're going to pull forward on a small tab here. You're going to lift this out. And now you've got it completely disassembled. That also gives you access to your charging port. Okay, let's talk about the TFX drive system, how it works, and how it's supposed to help reduce paint jamming. So to disassemble it, which I want to do to show you how it works, I'm going to lift up on this small middle tab. I'm going to spin it once, either direction, doesn't matter, and that allows us to lift out this upper blue drive to spring, and then the middle section, this. That's about as deep as you're going to go to disassemble, right? So you've got a soft fingered drive cone. This is what's going to be driving the paint into the feed neck, on top of which you'll have this other ring, which is kind of an agitator. And basically when this hopper's feeding, this is spinning, pushing them into the feed neck. This seems to be there for helping line up the paint inside of your fingers and also doing a bit of agitating. All right. Reassembly is pretty simple. Just drop that in, drop this in, and then finally lift up on this and turn one click, and now that's all locked into place. All right. And like most force feed hoppers on the market today, you've got a simple on-off button and you've got a force feed. So simple on-off, it spins until the eyes detect a paintball. My finger will pretend to be that paintball. If you feel like you need to force it to spin, you can use the other button, hold it down, and it will spin until you let go. This loader has a agitating feature that will help to clear out jams. And once again, we're going to turn it on. We're going to put my finger, cover the eyes. So this is its resting condition. If it sees a no paint in the stack and it's attempting to spin, but there's a jam, and I'm going to use this pen to pretend to be a jam, take my finger out of the stack, it goes into kind of an agitating state. And I'm going to put my finger back into the eye stream to make it stop. So the fingers are rubber. They're soft enough that they're pretty much going to bounce off the paint or slide underneath each paintball, so they're not going to break any paint due to that. And then your top hard plastic cone causes an agitation. It should help clear out any jams. And because of that, and I think it's a good system, using this button to force a rotation, I think is probably not necessary. I think that their system will clear itself of any jams. Time will tell, but it's a pretty good design. All right, next feature, and I'm saying that feature, is what they're calling the laser breaker eye system, which is located inside of this printed circuit board right here. It's an eye system that, like most brake beam eye systems, it just sends a beam of light across the breech, across this feed neck, and it looks to see if the paintballs are ready to feed into the breech. If there's not a paintball here blocking this light beam, then it tells the loader to start turning because this guy needs more paint down in his breech. So why do I say feature with sarcasm? It's because I don't know what the heck laser breaker eyes mean. Again, no owner's manual, either in the box or online. There's really no technical information for what this is. I'm sure there's an engineer somewhere that has done a good job designing them, but I really don't know what the feature is. I just can't find any information on it. I'm sure it works fine. This is not to denigrate what it does. It's just an odd feature with nothing other than a marketing slogan. The next feature to talk about is the integrated lithium-ion battery that comes built into the loader. It's actually built into the spring ramp that helps to feed paintballs in. It's located here. A really nice little feature of this is this red button. It's a battery indicator, so you can press down on that and it'll give you an idea of how much battery you have left. All right, nifty little feature. Your charging port is located right next to it, and it uses a Type-C USB charger, which is becoming very common these days and probably will be the standard of most cell phones in the future. So what I don't like about this, what I maybe don't like about this, is the fact that this is not easily interchangeable. A rechargeable lithium-ion battery is a great idea. However, paintball players, being what they are, will probably often forget to charge this. So one question to ask is, how long does it take to charge? In an ideal world, this would charge fully in the time it takes to get into your car, realize that you forgot to charge your loader, plug this into the car's recharging system, and charge it on the way to your local paintball field. What I'm afraid is going to happen is players are going to get to their local field, realize that they forgot to charge their battery from the last time they played, and have to switch to another loader, quite frankly. So if there's ever a TFX4 coming to market, I'd love to see a redesign so that the battery pack can be removed somehow very quickly, which it cannot in this design, and swapped in and out. And HK Army could sell us spare battery packs. I think most players would be happy to do that. So the integrated lithium-ion battery is great in terms of how much money it should save you on batteries over the long term. And this is a really high-quality battery pack inside of here. The downside is it's on you as a player to make sure you recharge it. One of the mysteries in this drive system, and one of the things I don't like about this drive system, is found underneath. So underneath, there's very clearly some kind of adjustable tension system perhaps, or agitating system. Really don't know what it does. So you can lift up on this, move it either up so it sits higher away from the bottom, or move it to a lower position. Unfortunately, and what I don't like, is that there's no explanation for what this does. There's no owner's manual in the box, and there's no owner's manual on their website. So this is a bit of a mystery. It's clearly there for some reason, but I just don't have an explanation. So let's talk about carrying capacity. It's a subject that gets a little bit of debate amongst players. I personally believe that every manufacturer fudges their numbers a bit on how many paintballs actually fit in their loader. I can't find any printed claims for the capacity on the TFX3 without the extender, but with the extender, HK Army proudly claims 230 plus paintballs. They actually imprinted that number right in the plastic extender ring. So what's the truth? Well, as you can watch, I was able to get 158 balls into the hopper without the extender ring in place. Granted, I wasn't trying to jam every last paintball into that space, but I probably actually got more than would occur naturally while just dumping paint in with a pod. In the second test, with the extender ring installed, I got 203 paintballs fitted in using the exact same filling motion. This is well below the stated 230. I probably could have gotten a few more in if I had tilted the hopper forward and I shook it around a bit to settle them in and then tried to cram a few more in there, but that doesn't seem very realistic for an actual game scenario. Regardless, the truth is you can't have it both ways. You can't ask for a sleek, slim profile loader and then expect it to carry 300 paintballs. Furthermore, any capacity more than about 140 paintballs is really only relevant for the first 10 seconds of a game. That's when the back players lift their guns up, dump hell down range. After that point, we're all reloading with 140 round pods, so the value of a huge capacity hopper diminishes very quickly from that point forward. In any case, I think the numbers I gave, 158 and 203, are fairly realistic to the way you're actually going to fill the hopper during gameplay. So let's talk about feed rate. What can it feed? For this test, I set up a die DSR to 18 balls per second on full auto. To reach and maintain full auto, I have to get up to a certain number of trigger pulls per second. So this makes it an imperfect test because it's possible I failed to consistently meet that requirement. In any case, our testing got us an average of around 16 balls per second. This is certainly below the stated 22 balls per second in the TFX3 marketing material. Well, does that matter? I don't think in the slightest it matters. No. Long gone are the days of uncapped semi-auto. Back then, if you made a mistake while playing, it meant you got hit with enough paint to lift you off your feet and send you down a long tunnel with a light at the end where you met all your deceased relatives. It's just not that case anymore. We live in an age of capped 10.5 balls per second at tournaments, and that rate of fire cap seems to have pretty well filtered down to local fields for all types of play. So can the TFX3 keep up? Yeah, easily. I think all the current force feed hoppers can do that, and if they can't, that's a major failure. So that's not a concern. So that was some pretty abusive testing. I wanted to see how this hopper would hold up under conditions like a snake player diving in, Superman style, slamming their gun on the ground. In the history of speedball, I've seen a lot of loaders fail this test. A lot of loaders hit the ground and break open, usually right on the seam, right where they're joined together, spilling the contents of their paint and disabling a player. Probably the worst hop in the market that we've seen for that. So it did okay. All right, so let's talk about how you're going to spend your money. This video was made in the last gasp of 2021, so by the time you watch this video, the market may have changed, the prices may be shifting on these. So I'm just going to talk MSRP. The TFX3 is $250 MSRP, and that puts it right into the range of competing with Virtue's Spire 4. The Spire 4 is a $265 MSRP, so you're already saving about $15. It's not a huge difference in this price range, but that's something. There's another little hidden cost with the Spire loader, and that's the speed feed. And these are not cheap speed feeds. Let's be honest, anybody that's buying one of these hoppers is going to want, and basically they're going to need a speed feed. The speed feed for the Virtue is $50. That's a big hidden price tag attached to this loader. So $265 plus $50. It's a big chunk of money. So it's a little bit of a hidden price tag on that. The Spire does have some features that TFX doesn't. Of course, TFX has some that the Spire doesn't. So what does the Spire have? Spire has a feeding alert, which gives you a little bit of a notice when the hopper is getting low on paint. That's a nice feature. TFX doesn't have that. I don't know of any other hopper that has that, so that's nice. The other thing that it has is Bluetooth connectivity. It can actually connect to some of the guns on the market, some of the Planet Eclipse guns, the Lux, I think there's others. And as soon as you pull the trigger, the hopper gets a signal from the gun that it needs to go ahead and start turning. Personally, I lived through the era of Angels when we were running wires from our loader to the printed circuit board of the gun itself, and it did the exact same thing, we're talking, but not wirelessly. And we didn't find much difference. The reality is, and that was in an uncapped era of rate of fire. You could fire as fast as you wanted. The connectivity didn't really matter. The truth is that the eye systems in these loaders and the logic on when they turn is more than good enough to run it. You really don't need to connect it to your gun. It's a nice feature. I'm probably about to get hate mail, but you know, I kind of discount that, to be really honest. Okay, so what does the TFX have that the Spire does not? It's got that speed feed built in, which talked about. That is a really nice feature and saves you a bit of money. It's got that built-in lithium-ion battery pack. That's hard to quantify what the value is to you. How many batteries are you not going to have to buy in the future using this loader? I don't know. So it's a little bit hard to say, put a monetary value. I will say that there is also a rechargeable battery pack available for the Spire, and they're $50. So maybe you could say that's worth $50. It's up to you whether you think it's worth that to you. So that's a very nice feature built into it, as long as you remember to recharge it. It also comes with the extension ring. I showed you how to install one of these, and I showed you, at least from our perspective, it maybe doesn't get you the 230 balls that they say it's going to get you, but it's certainly an increase. Comes with a recharging cable, which honestly you probably are already going to have. Certainly if you own an Android phone, a modern Android phone, you're probably going to already have one of these. And it's got the basic lid built into it. So what does the Spire have that this guy does not have? Well, this is pretty proven reliability. These have been around a while. I've owned Spires. These things work great. So not to say that these also won't work great, but this has a longer track record. So it's up to you to decide what you think is worth more. All right, so big picture, what do we think? It's got a lot of features for the money, a lot of features packed in for the money, and that's probably the most attractive thing about it. $250 is a lot to commit to a hopper, so I wouldn't casually pick one of these up, but so far it looks good. Going forward, here at AG, we're probably going to put one or more of these in the hands of some of our sponsored players and let them loose to get out there and test them, and we'll get back to you. So I wouldn't particularly shy away from buying one of these. I wouldn't mind it. The features in it look great, so we'll see what the future holds. Thank you.